Okay, so welcome everybody to our 300/500 hour MAST support session. Um, you all don't know each other, so I want to take a moment to just do some quick introductions um, because you're from different places, different training groups, and then we have Melanie who kind of came to us a different way. So would love to have you guys just share for a second, like where you're at in the world and a little bit about yourself and maybe even where you're at in your training. Marty and I were just talking about that, and she's curious to know like how far along everybody is and how's it going. So I will call on people.
Oh, I'll
So,
go. I didn't know you were seeking volunteers.
okay, I was like, if nobody volunteers, I just volunteer people. So it's
It's 9 o'clock here, so.
Yeah, no worries.
My name is Melanie Madrigal. I am in Tampa, Florida, which is why we were talking about the hurricane. I am an elementary school teacher. I've taught every grade except third grade. So I'm currently a fifth grade math and science teacher. I got my 200-hour yoga certification through a program called Breathe for Change, which was specifically targeted for teachers so that they could bring yoga into the schools. So the way I was blessed to find this amazing group was I was looking to advance my yoga training, and a lot of the yoga studios here are currently not doing that because of COVID. So then I started just Googling and looking and happened upon Dawn. We talked, there was like an instant connection, and I knew it was like, this was meant to be. So
Yeah, so Melanie just jumped in with us for the foundations of yoga. So she kind of went through the, which by the way, used to be module 1. So they're probably like, what are you even talking about? That's where we do the sacred text study and the history and philosophy of yoga. So she just did that with us, and that's where her kind of starting point was. So we're just going to see where her training takes her from here. Super excited to have you, Melanie. And you're going to find that you just will fit right in with everybody. We just have this amazing community of teachers that, all took training at different times, and we come together and become like sisters. And Eric, and a brother. We also have Eric in our teacher training as well. I can't forget Eric, but he's kind of like one of us. So it's all good. Fits right in with us. It balances us out. All right. Who'd like to go next?
I can go.
Go ahead.
My name is Wynn Ferguson. I live in Winnipeg, Canada, where we had quite a lot of heat until a couple of days ago. It was, I think, probably in some parts of Canada, it was hotter than Arizona. So it was quite something. I took a 200 training many years ago. I was teaching a faith-based program at my church and looking for a faith-based yoga program to take. And I found in Spiritus and Shirley and Dawn, and have had a great time with them. They are awesome, amazing people, awesome, amazing teachers. And I've met lots of great other yoga people through that. Well, met them on Zoom. I have met Shirley because one time when we were doing a cross Canada drive, we were able to connect. So that was really cool. What else can I tell you? I so appreciate hearing about Tampa, because I did hear about that in the news today, and I was thinking about that. So it's good to hear that things, at least for some of you, weren't quite so dire. And as a music teacher, I absolutely love your last name, Melanie.
Love that. Yeah, and Wynn is pretty far along in our master's training. So
yeah.
Yeah.
What am I, about 2/3 complete? I have to find a project that has been spinning in my head a lot, and trying to figure out. So many things sound good, but then have to focus and do something. So I'm blaming it on COVID for now, but
It's a good reason, by the way. I think that has delayed quite a few of you guys, and just kind of, yeah. And it's okay. You'll get there. And if you need help or support in sorting through that, you can always talk to me or Shirley, Wynn. So just know that.
Yeah, I may be leaning on you guys a lot.
Yeah, no worries. Of course, that's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thanks, Wynn.
Thank you.
Good.
We got you.
Sandra.
We got you.
I was going to go and I think Sandra unmuted. Okay. So I'll go ahead and go. So let's see. I am Marty Ogle, and I graduated from yoga training, the 200-hour program, in 2018. And I've been teaching some different places, church at one point, and also in a yoga studio at several different points there. I'm in the master's program, and I am also, I want to say, about 2/3 finished as well, kind of like Wynn. And I also am a trainer. I'm a corporate trainer. Been doing that for a very long time. I currently work with Toyota. I've been with Toyota for 20 years, so quite a while. And so I think it's interesting too, Melanie said, and also Wynn and so forth, we're teachers, right? So teachers by day, teachers by night, so forth. It's an interesting transferable skill, I think, that we all enjoy teaching in one form or another. So including yoga. So there you go. But yeah, I really enjoy this group. I always look forward to these calls. So I always get lots of good ideas and love to get connected with all of you guys. So, and I miss you all. So that would be me.
I miss you guys too, seeing you in person, but that will change. I've got some announcements. So, and Marty just trained for us. So she taught the DISC program, Understanding Yourself and Others, which we just completed last week, and did an amazing job with that. So Marty's certified to teach that, and we all got to learn a whole bunch about ourselves and different styles that we operate from, and what other people, in our lives, kind of starting to learn more about their styles and how to communicate more effectively. It was an awesome program, and that is now available by recording. So if you want to do that course, we can provide that to you as an online self-paced course. You just would have to, wait for the materials to come, because they do have to be like physically mailed to you. But that's a course now that's available in our online programs. So yeah, let us know if you're interested. All right, last but not least.
I am Sandra Spetta, and I finished my training in 2019, so right before COVID. And I loved it. I started teaching. I taught kids yoga for a while. I taught community yoga, and then COVID came, and I started master's training right before COVID. I think we did something, and then I did a summer program during COVID, and I am not, maybe a third of the way through, maybe. I'm gonna blame COVID, like when COVID derailed me, and my mom was here. I was taking care of her. I took care of her for almost a year, and so there's some other stuff that's been going on that sort of derailed my practice and my ability to finish my master's. But I'm working on it, and I'm looking forward. I haven't taught in quite a while, so your email that you sent the other day, Dawn, was very auspicious, because it showed up. I had just had a conversation, and then I opened my email, and it was the first one on top. So yeah, so I want to get back into teaching because I am not a teacher by trade, but I do love it. And it's what I would love to spend my time doing. So that's me.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to tell you guys about some programs that we have coming up. So in terms of like relaunching, right? Because COVID did derail us. It derailed all of us, even those of us like me who teach and train regularly. We've had to adjust to a completely different landscape and lots of changes. And, that being said, we and that by the way is the reason why we didn't have a ton of offerings. We had some offerings during the course of this last year or so, but we haven't had a ton, just because we haven't been able to offer much in person, and some of the training really lends itself for in-person learning. Some of the other trainings, didn't fly because we just didn't get enough people enrolled because people are Zoom burned out. They're just like, okay, I've had enough. Zoom, which by the way, I was communicating with Marty Ogle before this, during the 200-hour session, that's the reason for my pause this summer. Not just because it's summer and I've got a son who just graduated and we're going to be seeing him off to college soon, but also because of my own burnout with Zoom. I just have been online nonstop since March of last year, teaching, training, coaching and mentoring, teaching a Bible study. I mean, like you name it. And I'm just like, okay, I just need a little break from Zoom. And I need a little break from, being in that space so that I can regenerate, so that I can continue to pour out from my abundance, and so I needed that pause. So, so thank you for, being patient with me in the sense that we've had less of these types of support sessions. We've had, like our offerings have been a little more sparse, but that's going to pick up in the fall. We've got some great plans and I'm working on some other things that I'm really excited to share with you. So let me share what I do know at this time. And again, like I said, I'm in this space of kind of just receiving inspiration and making decisions about the fall. So let me show you on our website really quick of a couple programs that we have coming up. Going to our training page, just so if you're ever wondering like where to look for stuff, go to training. And the best way to go would be like through the continuing education link here. So we have in August, so it used to be the level 1 yoga camp. So remember during your 200-hour training, if you did it through us, where we covered yoga anatomy, gentle postures, level 1 postures. And now we're offering a certification at that level, just that very basic level. So that's part of our 200-hour program. The reason why I'm sharing it with you guys is that for those of you who feel like a little rusty, like you want to dive back into the postures to refresh your practice or your teaching, and just get a little boost, to come out of COVID and go back to teaching or start teaching, whatever the case may be, you can do that for half off. And so I know of lots of different teachers who feel like they just kind of got disconnected during COVID, disconnected with themselves, disconnected with their yoga community. Some of you guys went through teacher training like Sandra, and then, shortly after you got launched teaching, and Marty, COVID happened, right? And so your teaching was put on pause. And so I just wanted to provide that opportunity for you guys to get back into it, and kind of a little shot in the arm if you're interested. So we are offering that in person, but you can also do it online. So I'm going to offer it in a hybrid format for those people who are not local or, aren't ready to be in person. Okay. So that's coming. Then in September, we're offering yoga for mental health and healing. So this is a brand new course that I've decided to add, that really is geared toward that population. And I'll tell you kind of how it was born. I've been obviously trained in yoga therapy, and I work a lot with with these populations and with eating disorders, having gone through it myself. And so it's part of my calling, I believe, to alchemize that, to take what I experienced, what I went through, and then to be able to help others as a result of my pain. Our pain gets repurposed, right? Our misery becomes our ministry. And so having just told my story in a book, I have a chapter in a book called The Lemonade Stand too. I shared my personal story through my eating disorder and my issues around mental health in this book. And I immediately started, like, it's like you put it out to the universe and then suddenly things start showing up. I was called in to teach several sessions for a mental health summit a few months ago. And then I was approached by an organization called Transitions Counseling. They have IOP, so it's intensive outpatient therapy programs. They have partial hospitalization programs working with mental health patients, but also people with eating disorders. They approached me to come and teach classes for them. Now we're working on a collaboration where I'm developing a yoga program for them, and I'm going to help train people. Some of those people will be our own, some will be people from the outside to offer yoga classes as part of their mental health programs. So you put it out to the universe and boom, it happens. And so here we are. And so as part of that, I really felt led to offer a course that specifically addresses that population for people who are interested in being a part of this with me, and or people who want to teach those populations, but just don't feel like they have the skill set, or, maybe just want some additional training around this. So that's what that course, that's kind of how it was born, by the way. So that's going to be in September on Thursdays. Oh, wait, is the 9th? No, that might be Tuesdays. Hold on. One of them's on Tuesdays and one's on Thursdays. So let me look at my calendar. Yeah, so that's going to be on Thursdays, starting September 9th for 4 weeks from 5 to 7 p.m. Arizona time. So I'll be teaching you guys about the population. We'll get our hands around like what the needs are, and then, learning different tools and practices that we can apply to help these folks, navigate their mental health journeys. And by the way, there's an increasing need for this post-COVID. Mental health, issues are thankfully being talked about now more than ever. However, a lot of it is because of the prevalence. So we have a higher incidence of mental health and eating disorders. We have, and we don't have enough people doing this kind of work. And so I'm putting a plea out to you guys saying, I really would love you guys to, if you feel called to this, to jump in with me, whether you're doing it here locally with me, or you decide to do it in your own communities, because it's so desperately needed. Okay. So I'll cry if I talk any more about it. And then we're going to, as part of that, also an extension of that, I'm going to be offering So As Released yoga training. Most of you guys have already been trained in it. Melanie, you haven't. Wynn, have you done So As Released training? I can't hear you, sorry.
Right, yeah, I have taken the training. That's one that I still have to complete the homework.
Okay, that's right. That's right. So yeah, so I'm offering that again. We do have it as an online program, but I'm thinking about pulling it off because I think this one really needs to be done in person or live, like not going back and watching recordings and being led through it that way. So I'm probably going to pull it off and only offer it periodically in this format. So that'll be in October on Tuesdays for 4 weeks. Okay. So that one, we work with trauma and PTSD. So we really get in there to, provide help and healing and different tools to help the body release trauma and stress. Trauma is big and small stress that we hold in the body, so it can be utilized by anybody. So those things are coming up. Then in November, it's not up yet because we're still working on the details. We're going to offer a yoga camp for wellness coaches and those of you who are interested in like yoga therapy coaching, whether you're working with one-on-one clients, or you're, really looking to do coaching of any kind, that will be November 11th through 14th. And so we're going to do coaching specifically around trauma. So coaching clients who've dealt with trauma and PTSD. We're going to do coaching around using the 4 pillars of integrity, which is amazing, incredible tool that can be utilized in any capacity. We're going to talk about the importance of self-care. We're going to work with horses and using them to help us navigate trauma and help coach clients. We're going to also look at coaching using the chakras. So how can we use the chakras as a tool to guide us, and coach our clients? So there's going to be a variety of different things. And so we're working on the details of that. And as soon as I have it available, I'll be announcing that. Okay, so just stay tuned. But we're constantly adding courses. So you're going to, if you keep coming back to this page, you'll keep seeing things. But for those of you who are enrolled in the master's training program, you're always going to know what's going on, because I will email you and tell you these things are coming up. Pay attention, let me know what you're interested in. Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention, so I'm going to stop sharing. I can't figure out how to stop sharing. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry about that. So the other thing I wanted to share that I mentioned to Marty in our 200-hour, that was just me and her, is that we are like redoing kind of our business strategy, I should say. I'm working with a coach and a guy who's amazing to redesign the website, but also we're developing different tiers of memberships. So it will be available for every level of person, regardless of, what their practice or style is. But as a result of that, so you guys as master's trainees will be doing things differently. We're not going to offer across the board a discount for 200-hour grads anymore. It's going to be a part of our membership program. So that's going to change. And then for master's candidates, you will still receive a discount, but it'll just be 10%. If you're part of our membership program, there you can get up to 15% off. So that's going to change a little bit in the way we structure it. But there'll be different tiers of memberships with different offerings. Part of those offerings will be workshops and CEUs that you will get automatically. So like if you attend these specific workshops monthly, we're going to offer them for our teachers and students. And then we're going to offer one at the teacher level. So I'm sorry, I said that backwards. One that's for teachers and students just to enjoy and learn. But then the other one is going to be specific for teachers, and you'll get credit for that. So you'll get CEUs, and that'll be part of a membership program. So these things are all in the works. It's part of what I'm working on this summer. And we'll be launching that sometime in September. So that's happening. It's in the works. So I'm excited about that. And I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys about that. The next time we meet, I'll have more details. So that's it for announcements for now. Any questions before we jump into Yummy Yin? And Sarah, you came on a few minutes late. I wanted to just introduce you really quick to Melanie. Melanie is new to our master's training, and she came to us through an internet search. Crazy, so cool. And she's in Florida, in Tampa. So I'd love for you guys to say hello, introduce.
Hey, Melanie. Hey, everybody. My name is Sarah. I graduated. Sandra, I think Wynn was in our group too. Was it September 2019?
19. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then just kind of rolled right into master stuff. And I'm here in Chandler in Arizona. So
yeah. And Sarah was also teaching over at Joyful Yoga at the studio that I was teaching at, and Marty and Sandra, all of us taught there until they closed. Unfortunately, COVID hit them really hard. And so they just closed about a month ago. So we're all adjusting and trying to figure out what's next, right? So, and now what? That's okay. Get curious about that and just see where we're led to go, I guess, right? So, Melanie, do you want to quick introduce yourself so Sarah knows a little bit about you?
Hey, Sarah, how are you? Melanie, Madrigal. I am in Tampa, Florida. I am a school teacher. I teach 5th grade math and science. I have my 200-hour yoga certification through a program called Breathe for Change, which is specifically geared for teachers to bring yoga into the school. So where I teach the teachers and the students. So I do both.
Awesome. We need that so much, especially now with post-COVID. You're gonna need more teachers like you, Melanie. Kids need to de-stress and the teachers need to de-stress and have a place to put all this stuff, right? All right. Well, thank you for reintroducing. I appreciate it, you guys. I just want to make sure y'all know each other. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Wynn so we don't go over too badly. I think we had planned for 7:15, but Wynn, I don't know how long your practice is. If you guys need to get off, we certainly understand. But if you can stick with us till the end of our practice teach, I think you will sleep really well tonight and be glad that you did. So I'm going to go ahead and stop or mute myself, excuse me. And then I'm going to highlight you, Wynn, and you take it over from here.
How is this for sound? Good, yeah. I did a little practice of the whole sequence this morning and it came to exactly an hour. So hopefully it will be about an hour. Is an hour okay, Dawn? Yeah, okay. So welcome everyone. I am so glad you're here because we are going to be practicing yin together tonight. And I'm going to see if I can make myself large so that I can tell. No, I can't. Okay. That'll just have to do. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, so as we're setting up, I just want to recommend that you have a few props here handy while we practice yin. Blocks are a mainstay. If you have a bolster, that is great. I have, this one is made from queen size quilts rolled up into bolster shape. And I've also got a littler bolster that I use sometimes, pillows, rolled up towels, and if you have a flat cushion or a rolled up blanket, that is really, really helpful to have too. So I'll just keep talking if you are going to round up a few props. I'll just keep talking because I have a few little things to say about yin, which many of you probably know already. Yin is an approach that fosters patience, it fosters meditation and receptivity as we come into postures and hold them for an extended length of time. The goal of the physical practice in yin is to target and open up the joints and let the muscles relax. So we're expanding the connective tissue and creating space in the joints to promote more flexibility and more range of motion. As we're in postures, we want to seek a certain level of discomfort. We never want to go into that place of sharp pain, but we do want to feel that mild to moderate, stretchy, achy sensation, as some people like to call it, the Goldilocks feel, not too much, not too little. And as we practice, I recommend to you that you trust in your own individual inner wisdom, and that you know, as you know best what is needed in your body at this time. Yin also incorporates the principles of traditional Chinese medicine. One of the overlying beliefs there is that we need that balance of yin and yang, that masculine and feminine energy, to achieve health and wellness. We also are activating many of the channels, the energy channels or meridians of our internal organisms as we practice yin, which is also a great thing for organ health, the internal organ health. So I invite you to come into your favorite meditative posture. We'll do a little opening meditation. I took apart my yogi recliner, so I'll rebuild it up again here. One of my favorite is yogi recliner, which is a bolster resting on blocks, maybe in an L shape, or maybe you just have one block if that's more appropriate for your body. Maybe you sit on your mat on a cushion, or maybe you just lie right back on your mat. So I'll just come on to yogi recliner for a moment and invite you all to take a little time to settle into your favorite yoga or meditation posture. Maybe you take a moment here to set an intention for your practice today. It might be something like simply treating yourself with kindness and compassion, or it might be some trait that you want to foster more of within yourself. Perhaps we'll form our intention into a I am statement. I am compassionate and kind toward myself, for example, or whatever your intention is. If you can't think of one, that's totally all right too. So let's close our eyes or soften our gaze down, whichever is most comfortable for you. Starting to observe our breath. Just allowing it to settle for a few breath cycles. Notice how your breathing naturally changes when you're consciously observing it. Allowing the breath to deepen and lengthen in its own time. Maybe you add a light constriction in the back of your throat to control the speed of your inhales and exhales. Just making that ocean sound as you breathe. On that next inhale, breathing deeply down into your belly, expanding first your belly, then your rib cage and the upper chest. And then slowly exhaling, releasing the chest, the rib cage and the belly. Finding your rhythm in that diaphragmatic breathing, beginning to activate that parasympathetic nervous system that brings us out of our flight-fight mode that we spend so much of our day in, and into that rest and restore, rest and digest mode. Breathing in this way as long as you wish, and then perhaps taking a breath, or a rest rather. I'm going to read you a poem to just set us up for our yin practice called Surrender. Surrender into the postures. The difficult ones reflect life's struggles. The sweet ones are joy. Surrender to the outcome of your actions. They are not in your control. Each day, each practice, just do your best. Surrender to the actions of the universe, the marvel of nature, the things you never saw coming. Surrender to your present difficulties, the pain and the losses, especially to the things you tried so hard to control but couldn't. Surrender to the definition of yourself, your judgments. They are just your way of limiting who you are. Have a deep, unwavering trust that right now you are where you are meant to be. Feel the universe working beautiful magic through you. I invite you now to get set up for our first shape of the evening, which, well, I'm suggesting recline butterfly, but if you prefer to sit up, or if you prefer to stay in that yoga recliner, those are also options. If you are pregnant, those two options might be more workable for you. You might also come into a butterfly with legs up against the wall. I'll just move a little bit here to legs against the wall, and then sliding the feet down to bring the soles of the feet to face each other. Or you might come into that reclined butterfly, simply lying flat, maybe placing a bolster under your feet. Wherever you land, turning your feet outward over the outer knife edge of your feet to bring yourself into that Baddha Konasana butterfly posture. Just taking a bit of time to find your way into your version of the posture. Maybe you determine if you want to rest your head a little over a folded blanket. If you want to raise your arms overhead, or maybe your hands are resting by your sides or on your belly. Coming into your breath now and coming into stillness. Taking some time here to discern that balance between ease and effort, or sukha and sthira. Feeling that sense of mild to moderate discomfort. Inhaling deeply and exhaling. Finding that rhythmic breathing. Noticing where you're feeling those sensations. And as you breathe, surrender to what is. Yin yoga is a practice of balance, of balancing that feminine versus the masculine energy, logic versus intuition, light versus darkness. If you're one who is prone to push yourself to get to that maximum stretch, or if you know yourself to be hyper flexible, you might even consider drawing back a little. Just seeing how that feels for a change. And conversely, if you tend to shy away from sensations, you might consider trying to play your edge a little further. Always allowing your inner wisdom to be your ultimate guide. As you settle in, you may find the tissue starting to release. You may find you're able to release the blocks under your knees or the bolster under your feet. You might even try bringing the feet a little further apart or experiment with how far your heels are away from your body. Just noticing any new sensations that may come up. Butterflies are symbolic of being born twice. When a butterfly emerges, it is reborn and giving new life out of that fragility of bursting through from its old self. Let's take a couple of breaths here, inhaling through the nose and maybe sighing it out through the mouth here with a great sound if you want to. Now perhaps slowly, maybe bringing your feet back to the floor if they're resting on something. If you're doing the up the wall, maybe rolling to one side, coming out, returning back to that constructive rest posture, bringing your knees up, maybe helping your knees in with your hands. Maybe you lie on the mat with your toes turned inward a little and your knees splayed together. And a little bit of a rebound from that butterfly posture. Taking a couple of nice deep breaths here. Maybe you bring your knees wide and rock in a windshield wiper way for a bit. And as you're ready, we'll start getting set up for our next posture, which is supported bridge. So for this posture, take a block and place it at the top of your mat above where your head is going to be. And you'll want to have a block over to your side, about where your hips or knees will be, or you can use a bolster too. I'm just going to move my bolster out of the way here for now and make sure you can see me. So we'll come back to lie on our mats. You might take a small cushion to rest your head if you need that. And we'll come back into that bent knee position. Feeling your spine resting on the mat, feeling your shoulders rolled down from your ears. Maybe you tuck them under a little. Now with your hands at your side, we'll peel and your feet flat on the floor. We'll start to peel the spine off the floor, beginning with the tailbone, pressing into the feet, lifting the hips up on the inhale. And let's exhale, reverse, re-sticking that spine back down to the mat. Let's do that once more. On the inhale, we'll peel that spine up, lifting the hips. And let's exhale back down. This time when we come up, we'll take that block, place it under our sacrum. So let's inhale to peel again that spine off the mat. We place that block under the sacrum, being careful that we're not coming into contact with the low back here. What we want here is to lift the sacrum and, if anything, err on the side of having that block a little bit low. Just finding your way into that supported bridge posture. Maybe you bring your hands up to rest on that block. See how that feels. Maybe you experiment with pushing the block a little away from you, resting your hands a little further. See, that's a good stretch. If you're noticing any tingling sensation in your hands or fingers, bring your arms back down close to your head. If the tingling continues, just bring them back down to rest by your sides. And now maybe if it feels right for you, you stretch your legs out long into this, what is called by some practitioners, pontoon posture. Just settle into this reclined bridge, your version of reclined bridge. Noticing where the sensations are as you come into your breath yet again. The target area for this posture is the lower spine and the sacrum, but you might also feel some stress in the thighs, the lower belly. If your arms are overhead, you might feel some pulling or sensations in your arms or shoulders. Take some time to notice where these sensations are. Maybe you direct your breath to your sacrum, just allowing the tissue to settle here. Directing your breath to your low belly and thighs. Feeling that sense of the tissue settling here. I'll read you a poem called Breathe in Spaciousness as we marinate in this spot. Breathe in spaciousness and acceptance of what is. Breathe out resistance. Breathe in possibility and optimism. Breathe out fear and doubt. Breathe in ease. Breathe out the need to change the way this moment is unfolding. Breathe in the certainty that what we really are is so much bigger than pain and suffering. Breathe out limitation and conditioning. Breathe in divinity and openness. And breathe out a prayer of thanks that even in the midst of difficulty, there is awareness. As you're ready to come out, bring your hands first by your sides if they're not there already. Press into the feet to take that block out from under your sacrum, and then slowly release your low back, your sacrum back to your mat. And just take a few delicious deep breaths here, enjoying that rebound as your sacrum returns to its natural spot. And the tissue all comes back a little. Maybe you draw your knees in close to your chest, rocking a little from side to side. Maybe you bring this into a happy baby, more of a yin happy baby here. You might take hold of the back of your thighs near your knees, rock a little, or maybe if you can reach to your shins or ankles, if you've got that reach, maybe coming to your toes or the outside of your feet. Just enjoying that wonderful counter stretch to our bridge posture. And releasing your feet back to the floor, maybe turning your hips over to one side, rolling your body and bringing yourself up as you're ready to a seated posture. And we'll prepare to get into our next shape, which is caterpillar. So for this one, you may want to have a folded blanket or a cushion to prop your hips up on your mat. I'll just move it down a little bit here. You might have bolsters, folded towels, folded blankets, all those things that you might need. You might want to support your knees with some folded towels. You might want to have a bolster or a couple of bolsters handy if you wish. We're all wonderfully made, but we're all uniquely made too. So it's important to do what is truly going to work in your body. So give a little bit of thought to where you want to start in this caterpillar posture, which is like a forward fold, only it's a yin forward fold. So avoid engaging the legs or turning the feet and toes towards your calves. Just relax those legs. And as you're ready, we'll start to fold forward over the legs, rounding the spine, trying to keep those leg muscles as relaxed as possible. Maybe your hands rest on your legs. Maybe they rest on your props. If you're finding that your neck is uncomfortable, you might bring the heels of your hands to your forehead or rest your head on your hands in some way that works for you. You can experiment a lot with this. There's very few rules in this yin caterpillar posture. The target here is to go for that spinal flexion here. You may find also as you breathe over time and with gravity that you may be able to come deeper into this caterpillar posture. You might bring your chin closer to your chest to increase that flexion in the cervical spine and the neck. That feels all right for you. If you're pregnant, you might want to, I should have said this sooner, if you're pregnant, you may bring your legs a little bit apart so that this posture is accessible to you. Find that deep rhythmic breathing. And then on your next exhale, see if you can pause for 2 or 3 heartbeats. Bringing your attention now to your low back. Inhaling now and taking another exhale. Pausing again for maybe a couple of heartbeats at the end of that exhale. This might be a great place to get in touch again with your intention, saying that I am message to yourself once again. Observing that feeling as you come deeper into the stretch of feeling anchored into the earth, trusting in the earth's abundance. Abundance in Yin is recognizing that you are enough. You have enough. You know enough. You are beautiful enough. And you are where you are meant to be in this moment. Let go of any pressure that you might place on yourself or any need to improve whatever is already beautiful. Maybe you take a nice deep in-breath through your nose and sigh it out through your mouth. And maybe once again, inhaling through the nose and sighing it out through your mouth. Now as you start to come out, pressing into the hands to slowly, slowly bring yourself upright. Maybe removing any bolsters that might be over you, maybe taking away any supports underneath you. Maybe you come into a bent knee posture with your hands behind you, leaning back into your hands to release the hips and extend the spine. If it feels all right, you might even bring your gaze upward and take a breath or two here. So we'll get ready now to come into our next shape, which will be Sphinx with maybe moving to Seal. So you might, I'll move this one out of the way, you might take a bit of support for yourself under your hips here. As you come to lie on your front, maybe you have a bolster handy in case you want to bring one under your chest. Coming to lie on your front with your elbows bent. And now bringing your elbows so that they are under the shoulders or perhaps a little bit further, coming up into that Sphinx posture and just discerning if that is a good stretch for you. If it's too intense, you might bring your arms forward a little bit and see how that feels. But some people actually may find that simply lying prone is enough of a lower spine stretch. So you might just bring your hands into a pillow and rest your forward on your hands, and that might be your Sphinx. It's not about the look, it's about the feel. So we want to target the low back here. Maybe experiment if you're not feeling enough or you feel like you want a little more intensity of stretch, you might bend your knees upward. See how that feels. If your shoulders are uncomfortable, you might bring a bolster to rest under your chest and armpits. It's doing what you need to do to make this posture work for you. This is a great posture for stimulating the kidney, urinary bladder meridians, low back, the stomach and spleen in the front body. Also that compression on the kidneys makes it very much a cleansing practice. Some say it's a very good posture for if you are suffering from herniated or bulging discs. Continuing to breathe in that Ujjayi breath, breathing into your low back as if bathing the kidneys. In traditional Chinese medicine, the kidneys are considered our innermost organs, as they detoxify all body fluids. When the kidneys are depleted, we might experience feelings of anxiety or fear or lethargy. As you breathe into your kidney area, envision inhaling optimism and possibility, and exhaling to let go of any fear or anxiety that may come up. If it feels all right in your lower back and you want to come into an even deeper stretch, you might come into seal here. So straightening the arms and just deciding how straight. But we'll only hold this for about 4 or 5 breaths if you do come up here. You might have the arms out to the side or forward. Just feeling that added compression on the low back in the kidney area. Trying to relax your leg muscles. Trying to relax your glute muscles as you come up into that posture. And coming down anytime you need to. And maybe bringing your hands now in front to rest for a moment, making a pillow with your hands. Maybe you turn to one side, maybe bring your forehead to that hand pillow. Just take a nice deep in breath here and just let go with a big sigh. And now maybe rolling a little to one side to come out, we'll bend the knees, bringing ourselves up to tabletop. We might do a little bit of cat cowing and then come in to a little child's pose for a few breaths as part of our rebound from this Sphinx posture. Exhaling inward, tucking the chin, and inhaling, lifting the tailbone, lifting the chin, and exhaling once again inward. Now inhaling to neutral spine, and maybe you come into that child's pose, directing the hips back toward the heels. The knees can be wide, they can be close together wherever you want them to be. Maybe you take a block to rest your head. Maybe your arms are stretched out in front. Maybe bring your arms to your sides. Just take a few deep breaths into your back body here. Releasing any tension. And then slowly bringing your hands about where your shoulders are, bringing yourself up to seated. We'll come into Bananasana. So I invite you now to come back, lying on your back on your mat. With your legs straight out. Just take a moment here to feel yourself in that completely neutral position. And now with your hips anchored in place, let's wiggle our upper body over to the right side of the mat. Now maybe we bring our legs over also to the right side of the mat to bring our body into that banana shape. You might wish to bring your hands overhead. Just experiment with that. Maybe bringing them just above the head. Maybe you rest them on a block or a bolster behind you. Maybe you stretch them out a little. If you're feeling any tingling, that's an indication to bring your arms back down. If you are pregnant, you might want to take your bolster and or if you want to do this, you might take your bolster and do this Bananasana, lying on your side with that bolster over your lower ribs and your waist. So that's another great option if you are pregnant here. Coming into your breath, just enjoying all those sensations in the side body as the body opens up. You might be able to move the feet and the upper body a little further. You might be able to cross right ankle or left over left. Some people prefer to cross left over right when they're on this side. That's good too. Those sensations in the side body may stimulate your gallbladder meridians, which are associated with the emotions of kindness and anger. Maybe you wish to breathe in that kindness into your heart center. And exhale out any feelings of anger, Maybe sighing it out through an open mouth. Let's take another deep breath here, inhaling, and maybe you exhale out through that open mouth, sighing it out. And now maybe you move your legs back to center, bringing your upper body back to center. Just taking a moment here to be still and enjoy the echo of the posture. Now we'll move to the other side. So maybe you reach your arms overhead, holding your hands or elbows together, anchoring your hips in place, and starting to move the upper body to the left, bringing the feet to the left and settling in on this side. You might notice some differences from side to side. Just sitting with them, observing them without any judgment. And I've actually got a poem for you called Self-Observation Without Judgment. Release the harsh and pointed inner voice. It's just a throwback to the past and holds no truth about this moment. Let go of self-judgment, the old learned ways of beating yourself up for every imagined inadequacy. Allow the dialogue within the mind to go friendlier, quiet. Shift out of inner criticism, and life suddenly looks very different. I say this only because I make that choice 100 times a day to release that voice that refuses to acknowledge the real me. What's needed here isn't more prodding toward perfection, but intimacy. Seeing clearly and embracing what I see. Love, not judgment, sows the seeds of tranquility and change. Starting to come back to center, moving your legs first to center, moving your upper body to center. Maybe just take a couple of breaths here to enjoy that feeling of the rebound from that banana asana. Maybe you draw your knees in, hug them in close to your chest, rocking a little from side to side. And maybe you bring your feet back to the floor, and we'll do one more posture here. We'll do a recline twist. So I invite you to make sure you have some blocks or rolled towels nearby. If you are sure you won't need them, that's totally all right. I invite you to roll on to your right side here in that fetal position. And now as you're ready, bringing your head to the floor, leading with that left arm, we'll start to roll that shoulder, that left shoulder toward the ground. Feeling your head going wherever it wants to. Coming into your version of recline twist, you might experiment with the position of your knees. If they're higher, you might feel a little more sensation in the low back. You might want to place a block or a rolled towel between your knees or underneath that bottom leg. If your shoulder feels a little far from the floor, you might want to place a little bit of a support under that shoulder. You might raise your arms, you might have them by your sides. Just enjoying your version of this wonderful recline twist. Twists are great for massaging the internal organs. So just feel that sense of massaging your kidneys, your liver, your spleen. Just giving them a great workout here. And as you're ready, rolling back onto your back. Maybe you hug your knees into your chest and rock a little bit. Now come into that twist on the opposite side. So I invite you to roll into fetal position now on your left side. Now leading with that right arm and shoulder, rolling that right arm or shoulder rather toward the floor. Knees can stay stacked, or you might want to stagger them a bit. You might place a block or a cushion under the bottom knee or between your knees or both. Just finding your best feel in this posture. Noticing sensations and breathing into those sensations. Maybe you feel along the side of the rib cage or the outer hip or along the spine. Just taking some time to savor this twist. And take a moment to just enjoy a time of stillness before we transition into Shavasana. And now slowly rolling onto your back. Maybe once more, hugging your knees into your chest if you want to. Getting ready for your final Shavasana here. You might want to have something under your head for support. You might want to support your knees. You might want to come into that yoga recliner once more, or you might want to build a little bolster tower near where your knees will be on the mat. Come into that restorative instant Maui posture. I placed a couple of blocks on the mat and placed a bolster over top, and then bringing the knees over that bolster, maybe wherever your legs are, maybe bringing the ankles a little bit away from each other, maybe turning the toes a little bit outward. The last one more time, coming into your breath here. Just breathing any which way you wish. On that next exhale, maybe you let your spine melt a little bit more into the mat. Just noticing all those points of contact where your body is coming into contact with your supports. And exhaling to soften into your supports a little bit more. Feeling your facial muscles soften, letting go of any particular facial expression, resting the place behind the eye sockets, your jaw, your chin. The back of your head, the sides and the top of your head, your neck. Feeling your shoulders melt a little bit more into your supports. Feeling that sweet, relaxed energy as it travels up and down your spine, from the base of your skull down to the base of your spine. Feeling your heart resting as it nestles in your rib cage. Feeling your belly, all those internal organs coming into rest, coming into balance. Feeling the hip tissue release. Feeling your legs soften and melt into your supports, into the mat or your bolster. And allowing that sense of deep inner peace to wash over your entire being, as if you're being held up in the palm of God's hand and wrapped up in the love of God. In your own time, Beginning to bring yourself back from your Shavasana. Maybe you start to move your hands and fingers, your feet and toes, any way that they wish to move. Maybe you roll your head from side to side. Maybe you just rock a little from shoulder to shoulder. Maybe you draw your knees in and rock a little. Or maybe you roll to one side and just rest for a few breaths, resting your head rather on your inner arm before pressing yourself up to a seated posture. And as you're bringing yourself up, I'm going to read you another poem called The Guest House by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some monetary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. If you are up, I invite you to rub your hands together to create a little bit of warmth in your hands. And then maybe you bring your palms to rest over your eye sockets, opening up your beautiful eyes. Just sending any love down to any part of you that might need a little extra love now. Bringing your hands up, maybe you send some love and warmth out to the universe. And then scoop a little up, bring it into your hands, hands to heart center. Thank you so very, very much for joining me today and practicing with me. The light in me sees and honors the divine light in you. Wishing you peace as you carry on with your evening. Namaste. Thanks, guys.
Ah, that was yummy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wynn.
Oh, thank you.
Really beautiful practice. My body needed that more than I even realized. Oh my gosh. Last week I got to do a yin practice teach with somebody, and today, and I'm just going, I need to do yin more regularly. I mean, I really do. It feels so good.
Well, that has been my my observation of myself lately too. As I was getting ready for this, I thought, why am I not doing this more?
I know,
So,
right?
yeah.
Sometimes you do it, and I mean, that's just in general. I mean, with
Yeah.
all of our practices, right? We get maybe out of the habit, or we get maybe locked into a certain style that we do all the time, and it's so nice to remind ourselves like this,
Yeah, I think sorry.
Yeah. So I thought that was a
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Wynn. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I think sometimes as teachers, we forget to do these things for ourselves. And You know, I do want to introduce more yin into my own teaching, and my students, some of my students are really interested in it. So I do want to do this, but we get so caught up in, okay, I have to prepare the next class to teach.
Well, the cool thing about yin is, you
Mhm.
know,
You
even
can.
if you did
Yeah.
a very similar sequence and just
Mhm.
changed it up a little bit,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, or you just change the order in which you do things or whatever, you know, I mean, it's all good. And um I really appreciate it. I thought you did a really nice job. Your voice is so calming and so soothing,
Mhm.
and just an invitation to relaxation. I could, you know, just your presence alone cultivates that experience. And um, you did a great job instructing the postures and giving lots of variations, using the props effectively. Um, you know, the way you wove the messaging in was really beautiful. You did a great job with breath instruction throughout, you know, coming back to, you know, just reminders of the breath, and then, you know, having some actual pranayama instruction here and there. It was really, really nice. I like how you wove, you know, the benefits, you know, as I wrote down that I wanted to hear more about the benefits of the postures, the meridians, organs, and emotions. And the next thing you know, you started doing that. So it wasn't really until about Sphinx pose that you started kind of getting your groove with that. I'd like to see that earlier
Mhm.
in the practice. So I'd like to see you talk about, you know, some of the benefits, not going into gross detail on every single posture, but some of the benefits, you know, the meridians affected. People aren't going to know what
Mhm.
that even means. So giving them a little information about, you know, the meridians just on a
Mhm.
very high level. Um, but I like to hear like some of the anatomical benefits, which, you know, like for example, with caterpillar, it lengthens the ligaments of the spine, it activates the hamstrings, it helps aid digestion and elimination. So, you know, whatever.
Right.
Then it
Uh-huh.
activates the urinary bladder and kidney meridians, and then the kidney holds fear. So maybe, you know, you're letting go of fear here, or letting go of anxiety and softening into kindness, like you did later with the Sphinx pose. You mentioned that because we were doing compression into the kidneys, or even cultivating fluidity, because you know the kidney and urinary bladder, they're liquid, it's water, right? Water is motion and our ability to be fluid. So you know, just tying a little bit of that in into each of the postures, I think it will just like make it even that much more amazing. And like I said, you did, once you got to about Sphinx pose, from there on out you did that. So um so you know, just maybe a little earlier including that information. And then also with yin, just reminders. You did a couple times, but reminding them to turn off the muscles, because we're accessing the deeper connective tissues of the body.
Mhm.
So you know, we have to turn everything off and breathe into the sensation, and you know, reminding them to do that, because if they're used to yang style practices, they're engaging, like they're engaging their muscles, you know,
Yeah.
because they don't know not to.
Right.
So yeah, they're so used to us pounding them over the head with, you know, activating everything. Now we're like, okay, turn
Sure.
everything off,
Engage
right?
your
So
right.
yeah,
Oh,
engage your breath
sure.
instead and just surrender to
Yeah,
the shape.
exactly.
So you know, things like that. But other than that, really, really beautiful practice. And I'll let Sarah and Marty share if they have anything to share.
Yeah, I was really thankful that yeah, it was beautiful. Thank you so much. And um, I like, there were a couple of things that I honestly was like, oh, I don't think I've done this before, like in support of bringing that block for the hands.
Mhm.
And just, I really appreciated your kind of permission for curiosity. Like, how does this feel? How does that feel?
Mhm.
Those are I always, because I think I'm such a rule that I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be in a position like this, but you gave so many ways that it could go, and that permission to try it and be curious about it. So I thought it was really great. It's a
Oh,
beautiful.
thanks. Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
You can tell I'm in my room right now. Well, you probably can't, but I'm in my room.
She's in the darkness.
And it's dark. And I got away from my dogs and my family, and I'm so excited. And this is so awesome. I was thinking, when this is what you should be doing. Like, if you're not teaching this to people, you should be teaching this to people. And I'm so glad that it's
my
a
goal. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because it's a style that suits you so well. And I love that it's a recording, because I'm going to go back and listen to it and do it again. I loved one of the things that I went, wow, that's such a good idea, when you were doing the recline twist and you had us go into the fetal position first and then bring our arm over. I love that, because usually what I end up doing is I bring my legs over, right, to the side, instead of starting that way and bringing the arm back. And that really was really nice. I really like that. And the beginning, your beginning meditation was just beautiful. Your inclusive language and your tone, and I was just, oh my gosh, it felt so good. So I really needed this, and I really thought, wow, it's been a while since I've done yin, and I really love it. So this was an extra treat for me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Sarah, I want to say I found your practice teach on, and I looked at it the other night. I absolutely loved it too. It was quite a while ago. I think you did it in 2020, March 2020. So
yeah, I don't even remember, but oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
Oh, I did the full practice, and I just, this felt so great. It really, really felt great too.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Too.
Yeah.
I think your voice is so, I mean, it's perfect for all of yoga, but it really was this, like I said, the call to permission for curiosity, but also like just, and Don said it too, it was just this allowance to let go. You know, your voice just brings it with you, like, oh, okay, this is what I'm here for, is to let go.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're a natural, Wynn.
Mm,
Definitely.
mm. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm gonna sleep well tonight. I did not sleep well last night, and I will sleep well tonight, but also you worked out the kinks from a bad night's sleep. So thank you for that.
Bad night's sleep, kinks worked out.
Working out those kinks. So thank you. All right. So I'll be in touch with you guys regarding our next support session, and then all the new things that are happening. So just stay tuned, and I hopefully will, get Wynn out in person one of these days. I'm kind of putting a little just, hey, November, we're going to have an in-person yoga camp. Would love to have you. So anyway, just putting it out there.
Yeah, travel is still not, we're still pretty cautious up in Canada. We're not really traveling much unless it's absolute, essential travel. There's still not a lot happening.
Well, maybe by the next yoga camp, you'll be able to head out this way, but either way, you can join online with us. We'd love to have you either way, but
it's great. I hear you about the Zoom fatigue. I think, as much as I so appreciate that we have Zoom,
I do too.
Allowed, I hear this when I'm teaching too. There really is no real substitute for that in-person contact, but at least we are getting on
exactly. I've been grateful for
Zoom.
our ability to continue things in the midst of things being shut down,
Yeah.
So and I'm ready for more in-person stuff. I just am like, please, less Zoom, more in person. Not that I'm going to stop doing Zoom, but finding a little bit better balance. So all right.
Zoom, because I can come to your things, and all of you guys are all over the continent, and that is really
yeah. I know, we wouldn't, I mean, I wouldn't even know you if not for Zoom. So there you go.
We need to come to Canada. That's the thing. See.
Yeah, there you go.
You absolutely need to come to Canada. Yeah.
Yeah. We got to get Shirley to, maybe we can co-facilitate some sort of an experience up there one of these days when things get better. We've been talking about that for a while. So we will revisit that conversation when things settle down.
Canadians are very open to, well, Winnipeggers are one of the most open people in the world. They do test markets in our, well, for one thing, because we're cheap, they do test markets.
That's
We're
great.
known on the whole world, in the marketing world, we're known for our cheapness, but also theatrical productions and things that don't sell anywhere else. You take it to Winnipeg and they get it. I remember Paul Williams did a movie years ago called Phantom of the Paradise, and it flopped everywhere in the world except Winnipeg and Paris. So
You guys are so culturally advanced.
I don't know what it is, but he was really pleased. He came to visit Winnipeg. He said, you know, I so appreciate that this town actually gets what I was doing in this movie.
That's awesome. I love that.
I remember it. You know, people would say, oh, you've got to go see this movie, you know. And you know, the rest of the world, you know, well, never heard of it.
Maybe it's not the best test market then for stuff like that, because Winnipeg's going to be like, yeah, go for it. And the rest of the world's like, what? I don't get it.
Well, there is, I mean, it's always yin and yang, you know. They're very cheap in a lot of ways, and yet they're very adventurous in terms of cultural things. Often we have one of the biggest fringes in the world. And
Wow.
yeah,
I say we go in the summer though.
Yes.
Yes. We can't handle it in the winter. Just letting you know.
Handle it.
We're not made like you guys up there.
And we're going to be so done with the summer. I'm already done with the summer, and it's July. We've got so long to go. So I'll gladly go to Canada. But
well,
yeah, the winter.
I will find you all the right polar gear, so you'll be okay.
All right. She'll get us some, they call them toques up there. So we'll get some toques, and
that's only scratching the surface. The toques are just scratching.
Yeah, no, I know. We're gonna need a whole lot more. We're gonna have to be like
Yeah,
literally like the little boy in Christmas Story, where he's like in the full body and the wrapping of the scarf all the way up his face, so just his little eyeball. That'll be me.
Yeah. Well,
although I have officially entered menopause, so I have my own internal heating system, I do have to say. So.
Oh, you'll be fine. Yeah. Are you from Michigan or Wisconsin or somewhere?
I'm from Chicago area, and my family's up in Wisconsin. So yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, but I mean, I've been here so long. I've been here longer than I was there. So now I am fully acclimated, and I'm a big fat wimp when it comes to cold. So
yeah, some days I am too, but
and then you just have to like live with it, I guess, right? Start a fire, turn on some
ways,
do some yoga.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, thanks so much.
All right, kids.
Yeah.
I'll be in touch, and when I'll get you your certificate, probably tomorrow sometime.
Right. Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.